Hey everybody, Dragon Movie Guy here. This is my Oscars recap show, and with me is Jonathan Martinez, aka the Man of Movies, aka one of the founding members of the Cinema Squad. Jonathan, thank you for being on Dragon Movie Guy with me.
Hey, Brian, it is an honor, my friend. I have been watching you for years now. And so to be here, we were talking backstage a little bit saying how we've known each other for a few years now, and yet we've never actually spoken with each other. So this is pretty cool.
It is such a fun thing, this YouTube thing. I come from the world of broadcast TV, so this is such a fun experience, and it's weird to not talk to people in person. But I love technology and I love meeting people, and this is the best way to talk movies when you're thousands of miles apart. This is the best way to talk movies.
Oh, absolutely. It's the best of both worlds for you, right? With the whole technology side of it, the movie loving side of it. Our community is so vast, but at the same time, very niche, and it's nice to be a part of it.
So tell me, oh, sorry,
Oh,
trying
you're
to get
good.
the thing up there. All right. So tell me what are your initial thoughts on the Oscars ceremony? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you were you left wanting more? What are your first overall your overall thoughts with the Oscars?
I hardly have any negative statements about the Oscar ceremony. I've got to say, it was one of my favorites that I've seen. And with time, there's a good chance that it may be my favorite. I just thought it went, other than the whole everything everywhere aspect of it, which of course I'm biased, I love that film. Take that out of it. I just thought that the way that Jimmy Kimmel was able to pace his appearances and in general how the entire show was paced went by so smoothly. Still long. It's still a long show, and sometimes I wish it wasn't as long. But I was so happy that they were able to pace that 3.5 hours so well.
And I agree with you 100%. And starting at, that actually brings up as I oops as I bring up the subject.
Ooh,
Boom. Oh, boom. All right. Work in progress. So,
always.
what are your thoughts on Jimmy Kimmel as host of the 95th Oscars?
I think he did a great job. So many people were doubting it because of his previous two appearances. We all know what happened that first time, that La La Land year, and then the year after. And I never had anything bad to say about Jimmy Kimmel as a host. He kind of blends in just like every other host. I've never actually had a host in my lifetime that I've seen the Oscars that I actually cared about, or they all do, I think, a pretty generic good job. But this time around, I think he brought his A game, man. He really did. I thought the jokes he threw weren't just bashing on nobody's seen these movies. But on the opposite end, I've seen these movies and I love these movies. And here's some more movies that you guys should check out that weren't even nominated for Oscars. And his jokes, I appreciate how risky they were. There were some pretty risky jokes, like that in memoriam joke that oh wow, Jimmy Kimmel here making these jokes. Okay, all right, and I appreciated that he went a little riskier here, and I think it worked out.
Yeah, I agree as well. I am not particularly a huge Jimmy Kimmel fan. It's weird because he's from Las Vegas, so I should be rooting for him, and I am rooting for him. But like, uh, my saying was if you want a funny host of the Oscars, you hire Chris Rock. If you want a safe host for the Oscars, you hire Jimmy Kimmel. Uh,
Yeah,
but I thought
great
he was.
point.
I thought you're right. I agree 100%. I thought he did a good job, especially handling the Will Smith, Chris Rock references from last year. Like it wasn't the focus, but he wasn't hiding from it either.
I like the Will Smith jokes. Some people are like, "Oh, I just give me two or three and I'm good." Give me 10. I like them. I thought they were funny.
I know, like bring on the Will
Yeah,
Smith stuff. He's not coming back for another 9 years, so we can do all the Will
exactly.
Smith jokes and as short attention span as we all are with the Oscars. Unless it's the Oscar slap or
Yeah.
screwing up the Best Picture name nominee reading. People forget 6 months or 5 minutes from now. So let's start with Kiwi Kwan winning Best Supporting Actor. I don't know
Ooh.
why I said it like Charlie Sheen there, but Kiwi Kwan winning Best Supporting Actor. What are your thoughts on him winning and winning the category? And did you predict him winning? And did you like his speech?
I have yet to meet the person that didn't predict him winning. He was one of the more sure bets of the night. And so, yes, I did predict him to win. And I was over the moon when they announced his name. Not as much as he was, apparently. If you've seen a lot of these post Oscar interviews, he is over the moon. And they couldn't have given an award to a more humble, deserving actor in Hollywood.
I agree 100%. I am old enough that I remember watching Goonies in theaters and watching Temple of Doom in theaters. So I remember watching him as a kid and loving him as a kid, but knowing his story now and knowing that he was still working in Hollywood, but he wasn't acting for 20 years. And it was this movie that brought him out of retirement, and to win an Oscar in his first or second role out of retirement, it's amazing, and to see how grateful he was and how honestly happy and full of emotion he was, and the whole like, "Mom, I did it!" Like,
Jeez.
I loved that part with him, and
You're good. Dude, I mean the everybody came away with the same thing. The mom, I just won an Oscar. Wow. I mean, wouldn't we all like to say that at one point in our lives? To look at the camera and say, "Mom, I just won an Oscar," and he did it for all of us. It's almost like a win for Key was a win for us all. He feels like the everyman more than even the most famous everyman in Hollywood feels like. Yeah, what an amazing moment for Key. I listened to this post interview from, I think it was Entertainment Weekly, and I didn't know that when he first started acting, he was told to change his name to Jonathan Key Kwan because Ki Hui Kwan wouldn't shine as bright in Hollywood. And so to win this under Ki Hui Kwan, incredible. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure. Supporting actress all season long was one full of different predictions from people, different guesses from me myself. I had a couple women talking women up there back when the season began, and it would just fluctuate through these different films until well, we got the ones that we got. And I gotta say, I think um, four out of the five were some of the best supporting performances by an actress in 2022. I love Hung Chao in The Whale. That was so emotional. Carrie Condon was my favorite supporting a female performance of the year. Angela Bassett in Black Panther Forever, a lot of people thought was powerful. And um, Stephanie Shu. I love Stephanie Shu in Everything Everywhere All at Once. She was the titular supporting female character in that film. And then you have Jamie Lee. That was a weird one. I predicted Jamie Lee at a certain point throughout the season because it just seemed that it was moving that way. And the smart move is predict her for your nominations. But I didn't predict her to win. It's the role, Brian. The role for me doesn't cry out, this is deserving of an Academy Award. It's not even deserving of a nomination, in my opinion. And it's not that Jamie Lee is bad in it. She's not. Jamie Lee is an incredible actress with a career that spans decades. And what she did in Everything Everywhere, she did a good job acting wise, but the role itself was small and it didn't call for her to act her ass off. And she got it. And she got it. And I really believe that she got it because of the career narrative, which is weird because I thought Angela Bassett had the same narrative going into Oscar night. That career narrative. She's been acting for decades. She hasn't gotten the big one yet. But they were similar. Both similar narratives, and they gave it to Jamie Lee. And I gotta say, while I don't think it was deserving, I'm happy for Jamie Lee as a person. I'm happy that she finally got one, but it was that love for Everything Everywhere from the Academy and from everyone that pushed her over into the number one spot. I'm not no, I'm not surprised. Most years I would be surprised because that happens a lot. And when we started out the season, um, my early predictions were Claire Foy and Jessie Buckley in Women Talking, and that was one that after talks came out of nobody knew who did the better job. Half of the people I knew thought Jessie Buckley was the best in that movie. The other half thought that Claire Foy was the best in that movie. And that is a classic case of if they make it to the Academy, that is split and they're going to cancel each other out. But just because they're in the same movie doesn't mean they're going to split votes because everybody was going toward Jamie over Stephanie. Hmm. Yeah. I guess hardly ever, right? Hardly ever. I kind of go back to the year that Laura Dern won for the same category. She played a lawyer, I believe, in Marriage Story that year in 2019, 2020. And she didn't have that big blow off scene. And she was very calm and she was very collected throughout her. And I guess that's the closest one I could think of. But something like Jamie Lee, I guess not. Yeah. It's very rare. It's always that big, showy, loud, screaming, crying performance. Yeah. Hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was very surprised when that momentum for women talking started dropping because it was big in the beginning, Brian. It was so big, and people had a top three of possible Best Picture winners at the Oscars, and it dropped to some people to number 10 of most likely to win Best Picture. And I think because of that momentum shift, all the actresses, the writers, the blah, 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 it all went with it. It all went with it, is what I'm trying to say. And so after that momentum shift happened, I wasn't surprised that the love went. And I've got to say, I think that a Claire Foy or even a Jessie Buckley is more deserving than a Jamie Lee Curtis, even just as a nomination. Mm, yeah. I think I do agree with that. I was thinking back to last year's ceremony. Did you end up seeing that movie Mass in 2021 with Ann Dodd is in it, Martha Plimpton is in that movie. That is a film that at the very start of that season, many people were saying that it's contenders for supporting acting awards, whether it's Martha Plimpton or Ann Dodd on Gold Derby was number one for a long time. And Mass completely got goose egged at the Oscars. No nominations, no nothing. And that movie was just like Women Talking, an ensemble piece where nobody steals the limelight from anybody else. Everyone's just as equal, and that got goose egged in the performance and everything. But it just reminds me of Women Talking. You mentioning it is such an ensemble piece, and then in the acting performances that also got goose egged. 100% agree with you. Mm-hmm. Oof. All right. Cocaine Bear made it to the Oscars. I did see Cocaine Bear. I saw it opening weekend after work. And listen, it's not a good movie, but what else was I expecting? You know what I mean? It is. I have my Letterbox review up, and I think I have it at 2.5 stars. And I think I said, "Listen, this is not a good movie, but you're not here to see a good movie. You're here to go with a couple of your buds and have a good time." That's Cocaine Bear, and including Cocaine Bear, that was funny. I just think it's ironic that they were presenting visual effects because I hated the visual effects in that movie, Brian. Yeah. 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 It adds to that wit. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yeah. I think whoever was in the costume was on cocaine, probably. So it was fine, right? It was fine. I would have loved because Brian, you've probably been watching the Oscars for years now. You know, every now and then, and we've seen this more in the animated feature category, they'll have animated characters come up and present the awards and the audience doesn't see them, but they'll see them on the screen and the people at home will see them on their screen. It would have been hilarious if they had Elizabeth Banks just talking to a little tennis ball, but the screen was a really badly rendered cocaine bear in a tux or in a tie, right? Don't you think that would have been amazing? I love it. Hmm. Malala. Hmm. I'm sure Malala has no idea what cocaine bear is. But, right, here's a little defense. I'm not defending it, but here's something that I could understand. She is in Hollywood, and I'm sure she knows that Hollywood is full of these crazy people. So she probably just thought it was just another crazy Hollywood person doing crazy Hollywood things. No, absolutely. I'm sure she was. I'm sure she was. Hmm. The sketch. Oh man, is it a hit or a miss? Oh, okay. I'm going to say miss. I think it was more awkward than um like charmingly witty. It was just more awkward. Yeah, correct. Well, let's be frank here. Before the Oscars, there was no competition. It was Kate Blanchett's award because she was sweeping. She was sweeping like I've never seen an actress sweep before. That was insane to me all season. And while I wanted Michelle Yeoh to win, though I do like Blanchett's role better, I wanted to see Michelle Yeoh get the Oscar. The statistics failed anybody who voted for Blanchett because the statistics were pointing at Blanchett, and Yo finally got it. It all goes back to me that SAG night a couple weeks ago when Everything Everywhere also won every award they were nominated in, made history as the film to win the most SAG awards. And then Oscar voting opened. And that was where that narrative changed. And all those wins for Blanchett just disappeared. And all those votes went to Yo because of that incredible SAG night. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Even if you're still sour on Daniel Deadweiler being snubbed in this category for Tilt, even if you are, Michelle Yeoh and Blanchett were going to take it to the end. And that was something that many people, a majority of people, could all be on board with. It was between the both of them. And when it comes to their performances, I loved them. Incredible. I believe that those are two lead performances that will go down in history as some of the best female performances. When you see a montage, I think you've got to include those two performances. And to say we got them both in the same year, whoa, whoa, that's incredible. Yeah, 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 mm, yeah. Even if I wasn't going for Michelle Yeoh, what you just said right there, Brian, that would have convinced me. Great point. That's a great point. Sophisticated. Yeah. Yeah, so concerning the Banshees of Inisherin, I love Jenny. She's like a fan favorite now. She's that one fan favorite. People just pick her and oh, who's your favorite between Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson? Oh, it's Jenny the Donkey. Jenny the Donkey is my favorite character in the Banshees of Inisherin. So I love Jenny. And so what happens to her at the end of the movie is heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Concerning the Oscars, that was so nice. When I saw Jimmy Kimmel come up with Jenny the Donkey, I said, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe it!" Even you could see the look on Colin Farrell's face when he sees Jenny the Donkey, and a couple good jokes here and there. And but I guess I was a lot more let down, Brian, when it was announced that that wasn't really Jenny the Donkey. Hmm. I know. I know. Hmm. Oh yeah, I saw it. I'm seeing it. Yeah. Hmm. It's so true. Wow. I forget what fake title they gave the Banshees though. Anyway, it was, yeah. Oh, things come around, Brian. Right? Things come around in a full circle. You just gotta wait long enough. That was a moment, if ever a moment was televised. That was a moment. Harrison Ford presenting. Who doesn't love Harrison Ford? Everybody loves Harrison Ford. I think, though, Harrison Ford is just done. He has this nonchalant attitude with everything he does, and he's earned to have a nonchalant attitude after the career he's had. But he just has this attitude where he's there. He's like, "Hey everyone, I'm here. Yes, it's I'm here." And so he read the award and he's like so nonchalant about it. And it's okay. It's Harrison Ford, but I was so happy that through this attitude of his, the camera cuts to that embrace between Kiwi Kwan and Harrison Ford, and it's the only smile we get from him that night, I think. And they're both just so happy that they're getting to see each other. And then it cuts to Steven Spielberg, and he's standing up and he's clapping, and he's like, he's going like this. That genuine reaction where it's not just a sophisticated clap. He's going like this, like he's so happy for his friend. A moment. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I know. I have been Everything Everywhere's All at Once biggest fan since it came out a year ago. Immediately became my number one film of the year, and it stayed my number one film of the year. I have been championing this film all year long. And there's a billboard in Hollywood that says everything has led to this, and I agree. Everything has led to this. I wanted Everything Everywhere to win Best Picture. I wanted to get all the awards, and it did, Brian, and it did. And I can't even believe that I'm here saying that it did. And I'm still young. I'm still young. I have never in my lifetime had my number one film of the year win Best Picture. Everything Everywhere is my first one. My first one. Yeah, yeah. The closest I ever came was La La Land because I am a big fan of that film, and I guess it did win Best Picture for 3 minutes. uh, a little, but oh man, I was so freaking glad. I did not see a second place. I did not see a runner up. I thought Everything Everywhere was such a lock. Yeah, when they started getting Critics' Choice, and they got Directors Guild, and they got Producers Guild, and they got the Screen Actors Guild, and they got the editing for BAFTA. I just had this inkling in me. This is it. This is a lock. This movie has been sweeping like no other film has in quite some time. This is a lock. There's no runner up. So I went into Oscar night pretty confident. I would say, Brian, as close to 100% confident it was going to get Best Picture. Yeah. 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 The most movie. Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Did you make any money from those Vegas odds, Brian? Ah, yeah. Mm, ah, gotcha. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, aside from Jamie Lee, that was a shocker. Aside from Jamie Lee, Brendan Fraser was a good shock because I know that was a very tight race between Austin Butler and Fraser. So the fact that Fraser pulled out the win, shocking, but a good shock. I like Fraser in the whale. And when it comes to Tex, I was shocked for best production design going to All Quiet on the Western Front. Not because it didn't deserve it, but because it wasn't the front runner. It had zero precursor wins, and Babylon has swept all award seasons in that category. And then All Quiet pulled it out. So that was a shock. So I would say, aside from that, yeah, um, it was pretty much everything everywhere's year.
I agree too, and I also loved Brendan Fraser's performance in in the Whale. I thought it was a very diverse, deserving win. Well, let's talk a little Best Actor because I skipped over that. Like, what were your thoughts on Brendan Fraser winning and the other nominees in that category as well?
I glad, beyond glad for Fraser. He deserved it. Fraser was my favorite performance of 2022, male or female. Fraser was number one. What he did in The Whale was something I haven't seen an actor do in a very long time. I didn't even think Fraser was that good of an actor because we've seen him in these big action blockbuster films or family friendly films, and he's competent. He's good. Um, but to be this good, wow, was not expecting that from him. So the fact that then Austin Butler comes into the picture, it scared me a bit because the momentum started to shift. He was Fraser was such a lock for so long, and then that love for Elvis and that love for Butler started seeping through. And then Butler started being the favorite to the point where I ended up predicting Butler to win, even though I wanted Fraser to win. I thought the smart bet was on Butler. So when Fraser won, I'm like, holy crap, yes, yes.
Now, did you think that just based off the timing of everything, that after the sad passing of Lisa Marie Presley right after the Golden Globes, like 2 days afterwards, did you think that that would affect Oscars voting for Best Actor? That there would be a landslide of support of empathy for the Presley family, and that Austin Butler would get the sentimental vote?
I did right after Golden Globes happened, and that's when Lisa Marie died. And I did, but I think that notion started to die down a little bit as we started getting to the Oscars. So then I stopped believing in it. I'm sure many people voted off of that notion alone, though.
Yeah, and I agree as well. you're right about Brendan Fraser. He's always been like the nice guy that you root for. You know, you see him in George of the Jungle, and you see him in the Mummy movies, and even the last couple of years, he hasn't been as high profile. But seeing him in oh crap, the Doom Patrol.
Hmm.
He plays the overweight aging race car stock car driver, NASCAR driver that ends up on the in the DC Comics Doom Patrol TV show, and does a
Yeah.
pretty good job there too, but very less, not nearly as high profile kind of thing. So I didn't know that he had this kind of a role in him. Like, not to say that he didn't have skills, but I don't think he's ever been pushed this far with his acting chops before.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was this not the best, the greatest, or most significant year ever for fat suits?
I guess so, considering that three movies were nominated for fat suits: Elvis, The Whale, and The Batman, all for their usage of a fat suit.
Yeah, thankfully we've come to a place where, unlike Robert De Niro in Raging Bull, where he was so meth that he put on 60 or 70 pounds, we're not a place where we go, well, okay, well, like we love our actors, but we don't want to have them put on 600 pounds to be in
Listen,
the
bro.
just to star in the Whale. Um, which of the so we got three. The big ones are Tom Hanks in the fat suit as the Colonel in Elvis. We have Colin Farrell in as the Penguin in the Batman, and obviously Brendan Fraser as the Whale. Which of those fat suits worked for you, and which ones didn't work
Yeah.
for you?
Um, real quickly, that joke you just said set me off. I can imagine that call being Darren Aronofsky saying, "Hey, Fraser, listen, we need you to get on the verge of heart failure, just on the verge." Could you imagine?
Yes, I get. And part of me too is I'm thinking like an old 1940s manager kind of guy, like the kind of guy that's like smoking a cigar in an office and man, yeah, Brendan baby, yeah, you got to put on 600 pounds. Fat suits are hot right now. Like,
Now, to get to the question at hand, the Batman and the Whale were the best usage of a fat suit, and oh my goodness, dude, Tom Hanks almost ruined Elvis for me. Almost. His acting and that fat suit almost ruined Elvis for me. It didn't. It did not. I still really enjoyed Elvis. And what they were able to do with Colin Farrell as the Penguin, wow. I didn't even know that was Colin Farrell when set photos started to be leaked for the Batman. The Whale, oh wow, even though if you want to be nitpicky about it, there are certain points in that film where you could see it is a suit,
yeah,
but it's not enough to take you out of that trance of when you're watching and experiencing that film. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
I agree 100%. It's there are points where just you can see where the makeup ends and the actor begins. And that could be more of a cinematography thing than just the actual pure makeup itself. Uh, but yeah, I thought he acted Brendan Fraser was so good at acting with the suit on and feeling the weight of the suit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when when you think about Tom Hanks in a fat suit, like that's sort of my go-to as to why I hated the Elvis movie, and
Oh.
I am one of the biggest Tom Hanks fans out there.
Mm.
I love him. You know, he's the modern day Spencer Tracy. He is, he is America's dad kind of thing.
Yeah.
But to see Tom Hanks in a fat suit,
With
you
a
know,
wonky accent.
and you know what I kept thinking of the entire time that I saw him in a fat suit? I kept thinking of Martin Short's character Jiminy Glick where Martin Short is in a fat suit interviewing celebrities and kind of fawning all over them. So the fact that I was watching a serious Oscar contender and I kept thinking of Martin Short as Jiminy Glick, going, and tell me more about that latest movie that you're in. It, while watching Tom Hanks, two-time Oscar-winning actor Tom Hanks, in a fat suit as he lustily looks after young Elvis. Man, there's something about the makeup on Elvis, and I'm sure the technology was probably very similar, but why? Why the fat suit?
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Elvis fan. I'm not a huge music fan. Like I like music, but I'm not like a huge music historian like I am with movies and sports. But does anyone know what does anyone who's not a hardcore Elvis fan actually even remember what the Colonel looks like? Or exactly how fat he was? So the idea that, we love Tom Hanks, but we're gonna put him in a fat suit.
Yeah, if you're not in tune with Elvis, you would think Tom Hanks was completely made up for the movie.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, his character was a combination of different real life characters, and he was a
Yeah,
composite character. I could totally see that, Anthony Hopkins in Chaplin. Like him
yeah,
as the
yeah,
interviewer in Chaplin is a composite character, didn't exactly ever exist,
yeah.
but he is the point of view character. You're right. I could totally see the way the way that they handle it in Elvis. That their version of Colonel Tom Parker could have easily been a made up character.
Jesus.
And let's put him in a fat suit.
Now it's funny, Brian, because I was going for Elvis to win the hair and makeup category because they had won some prior awards. And so I voted for it. I said on my personal ballot, I said it's going to be Elvis because Elvis has won some more awards, and aside from the Tom Hanks stuff, there is some good makeup and hairstyling going on with Elvis himself, and Elvis has a better fat suit at the end of that movie than Tom Hanks does that whole movie.
Yes, absolutely.
And so when the montage started on Sunday announcing the nominees for hair and makeup, and the first clip they bring up for Elvis is Tom Hanks in that fat suit, I went, "Oh Jesus, yeah, that's right. He's in this movie. Yeah, they're losing. I just lost this category." And I did. And I did. And I did.
You're right. When the clip that's pulled up is not the one that should be there for the nomination, you're like, oh, whoever edited this montage together didn't even try. They're like, yeah, grab Tom Hanks in the fat suit. That's good enough. He's not.
Exactly. Man.
And you're right. The fact that there were two fat suits in the Elvis movie and they still couldn't get it right.
I know.
Elvis is fat. You're right though. Elvis's fat suit actually did look pretty good, pretty realistic.
Yeah.
And not too over the top.
Mm-hmm.
So, any final thoughts on the 2023 95th Oscars ceremony? Anything we didn't touch on that you'd like to get out there? Any final thoughts? Any and any upcoming videos that you or the Cinema Squad have that people can check out? Yes.
Yeah, sure. I'll get into that for sure. As for the Oscars, I thought it was a successful year for the Academy Awards. I thought that last year was a dud. I thought the Nomadland year was a dud. And this year, for me, brought that celebration of film and the passion for filmmaking back. And I believe that the ratings showed that if you do more things like this, people will tune in. Celebrate films, celebrate its filmmakers and the passion behind all of it, and we will watch. And aside from their motives, the actual show was paced very smoothly. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the stream, they paced it almost perfectly. But if there's anything I would ever change with the Academy Awards, it's that it does not have to be that freaking long. Ever. You could cut a couple skits here and there, and trust me, I think you may even get more viewers if you promise people that we're going to be shorter. I think more people are willing to watch the show, the ceremony. But Everything Everywhere won, Everything Everywhere swept. I am so ecstatic, over the moon, like Kihui Kwan was, that my number one film swept the Academy Awards. So yeah, man. And then when it comes to future videos and whatnot, I still have my personal channel, but I have not been active on my personal channel for um, well over a year now, for personal reasons. Nothing bad, nothing bad. Good personal reasons. Having a baby and family and all that. So I haven't been active there, but I have been very active on the Cinema Squad's YouTube channel, where we do live streams, movie reviews. For the last 6 months, we've been doing Oscar coverage, award season coverage, and that's been helping us and boosting up our, sub count and viewership. And we may have some things under our sleeves. I think we have a Scream 6 live stream that we want to do in the next couple of days, kind of just talking all things spoilers for that film. And the Off to the Races crew, our awards coverage crew, we may have a couple sporadic videos coming here and there, like 2023 movies that we are going to predict to be nominated for Best Picture. Maybe Barbie, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But that's pretty much it.
And the Cinema Squad. Tell us a little bit about the Cinema Squad. How many? Who's in the Cinema
Yeah.
Squad, and yeah. So tell us a little bit about this. There's yourself.
Yeah.
There's Dan.
Yeah. So the Cinema Squad, we are comprised of 6 members, including myself, Dan from The Upside Dan, Sean from Lost in the Real, Anthony from Fever Dreamland Theater. We have Jace from Berger Rokar, and we have Joe from Geeky Hijinks, who's been on a bit of a hiatus for similar reasons to me, personal, but good personal reasons. But we all come together, and we all have different personalities. We all have different opinions. We all have different interests and passions, but there's one humongous one that unites us all, and that is film, and all things film, from Oscar bait to superhero to sci-fi and horror, everything film. We love to love it. We love to hate it. We just want to talk about it with you guys.
And you guys even do sketches that you incorporate into your live streams. Yes.
That is true. That is true. It's been a while since we've done one of those live streams specifically, but when we do a live stream like that, where we take comments and we just kind of just shoot the shit, we do skits. We do little skits, little 2 to 5 minute skits, and they're ridiculous, and they're just as crazy as like an Everything Everywhere scene with hot dog fingers and dildos.
And you even get into recurring characters. Like one of my favorite is Bond, Jonathan Bond.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So John Bond, who thinks he's constantly in a James Bond movie, no matter the situation he's in, and the moment he announces himself, you get the little gun barrel, and the name comes in. So yeah, we also have reoccurring characters as well. We're in a process right now, after everything that happened with Off to the Races. We're in this process where we're trying to maybe change up our landscape a little bit, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jonathan, man of movies, for coming on on my Oscars recap extravaganza special, everything. Thank you for coming in, or thank you for coming on. I will put links to the channels and the videos that we were talking about in the description of this video after we finish with the live stream. So thank you for coming on, and thank you everyone for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and thank you for watching. Boom.